Call meeting in order. So let's go ahead and do roll call.
Got it, Susie Bauer. Here. Linda Berg is excused. Paul Statement.
Here.
Tom Kirkhofer. Joanne Adams. John Myers.
Here.
Mary Katz. Here. April Resnick. Gene Schultz here. Roger Walsh.
Here.
Jason Mauser.
Here.
Shelley Jurgens. Bruce Kiesky.
Here.
John McDowell.
Here.
Fred Michelle.
Here. All right, cool. So for the approval of the last meeting, 3 weeks ago, July 21st, I did, and I apologize, Gina, she got back to you. There was a couple things that were lacking.
Okay.
So we'll pass these minutes at our next meeting, but I know we just have to insert mixed-use business in the River South District is limited to 3 stores. So we can
They were the ones down here were supposed to be there.
okay.
The points are correct, and they might be
In
wrong.
the wrong order.
Because of the wrong conversation.
So yeah, we need to add at least a bullet point somewhere that says mixed-use business will be no longer than 3 stores in the Main Street River South District. And building height restrictions are at 4 stories in the business park. So we just need to add those 2 things and then we're good. Did anybody else notice anything else from the minutes? Did everything else look good? Gene, thanks again for doing that work. I don't want that job.
It's not. No, that's fine.
You can approve the minutes with those changes if you want, and then we'll have an amended copy in the next packet.
Sure, so we'll pass these minutes and then we'll add those 2 bullet points at the next meeting is what we'll do.
Yeah.
Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, I make a motion that we approve these minutes and we'll come to those amendments next week and have them at that time.
Okay.
Susie, second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Okay, cool. We're going to go to public comments for 10 minutes. We'll have public comments at the end of this meeting as well. But before we get to that, John Myers, John here. John has a few words that he'd like to share, so John, please go ahead and
Thank you.
roll call.
So I wanted to address the committee. Everyone, I want to know how much I appreciate we've all done hard work, and I think it's been a great work. I think, none of us have got everything exactly the way that we want, but we've come to a consensus. I felt at the last meeting that we had, we were left with some pretty sour words and from comments from the audience. And I'm sorry, but that I can't let that just sit because it has affected me. So I just wanted to bring my point to counter some of the things that were said, and the fact that this committee has been in the open with as much public comment as we can get, public meetings. We were duly appointed by the village board, a representative sample, a large sample of the community from all across the community, all different works, venues, school district, retail. I'm from the planning commission, and I don't know how it could be done much better. I see a great effort of everyone here, especially our chairman, to try to be as fair and open as possible. And being the fact that we were accused of trying to do this in the dark, trying to do something against the public goodwill, trying to serve our own personal needs, I just cannot let that stand. I've worked too hard. I believe you've all worked too hard. We have asked for lots of public input. I know I personally read all the comments the written comments that we received. That has come into my judgment in making decisions on how I vote. And I respect, appreciate, and love this community. And again, I can't let this stand because it's too important to say that we're just trying to do something in secret. So, appreciate you for letting me speak.
Yeah, you bet, John. Thank you. Okay, thanks, John. All right, we'll take the next 10 minutes. We're going to be here for public comments. If anybody has anything to say, just say your name. Susie, please. You have a great
So it
statement
makes me
there?
uncomfortable now to follow
No.
that. I wasn't at the last meeting, just so you know.
Go ahead.
But
Your name, please.
my name is Nicole Ertl, and I live at 706 Stoker Farm Avenue. And I just want to express my concerns for the consideration of the land use for that small parcel on the intersection of Highway NN and Highway EE. My utmost concerns are focused on traffic and the safety of the students. And I live 3 houses from that intersection, and I enter and exit my subdivision from Stoker Farm Boulevard off of Highway EE. And this is especially hazardous when traveling eastbound on Highway EE, bringing my kids home from section, or while I'm planning to cross traffic to make a left-hand turn onto Stoker Farm Boulevard, and when I'm attempting to exit from Fairwinds Boulevard, or Stoker Farm Boulevard during peak traffic times. So this would all be on Highway EE. And the traffic light at the intersection of NN and EE, and the entrance and the exit to our high school's athletic field and school parking lot is visible to me from my front picture window. So the volume of cars, motorcycle, truck, and emergency vehicle noise, frequent traffic stops, accidents, and tons of pedestrians and students crossing this busy thoroughfare through our community, I am witness to every day. The sheer volume, the sight lines on that intersection, and the speed of cars around the corners and down the hills, you're coming down a hill on NN, you're coming down a hill on EE, are both easy ways for close calls. I have close calls, I witness close calls all the time at that intersection. And I'm deeply worried about the possibility of having a medium density multifamily being considered for that plot on such a popular intersection. It makes me very scared. The additional traffic trying to exit and enter on an already highly trafficked area puts our high school students, pedestrians that walk their children and their dogs, and our community members that travel by motor vehicle at risk. A risk that I find very alarming. In addition to that, but not nearly as important to safety, my issue with medium density multifamily in this tiny parcel is that it isn't comparable to anything adjacent in development or intensity to these properties. Notably, the medium density multifamily land use states it is to be applied as a transition from more intense to less intense land uses. There is not a more intense land use than this itself. Low density multifamily is preferred, and it's a much safer use of land adjacent to our high school.
Thank you. Is anyone else?
Yeah.
Carl?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I'm Carl Kettner, just a little bit to what Nicole said. Last meeting, there was a comment that the high school was considered a higher intensity use. But if you look at that, the high school is very far down from that piece of land. So I don't think that should be considered as, you know, an intensity that's close by. That's all, thanks.
Thanks, Carl.
Dan Knight, 602 Stocker Farm. I'd like to thank everyone here for participating. I agree with John, it's hard work and it's a lot of effort that you put in. Sorry that I didn't get to stay in the last meeting and didn't say my piece, but I was concerned that the builder threatened a little bit to the village that some actions could happen from not improving this land. Bruce made a comment with regards to he hasn't changed land and was worried about his reputation. The land is agricultural right now. To use it for something else, let's look at what it's for. I mean, look at the original intent of the group here is to keep it, the mission statement, the goals that you set, were to keep a village feel. Do we need another apartment? I went back and looked at the survey from 2007. It's a little bit old, but it does say, do we need more apartments? No. Do we want more apartments? No. It says in there, most of the people in the village don't want more apartments, so why are we looking at apartments? Let's put something else in there. We don't need additional apartments, in my opinion, and especially in that area. There's a lot of road traffic, there's a lot of school traffic. When they open up the rest of Fairwinds there, back in '83, I can hardly wait to see what the traffic flow is by my house, going from 83 to NN to EE cutting through there, I'm afraid of that now. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Anybody else have something?
Hello, I'm Darlene Johnson. I'm speaking as a county supervisor. I received, first of all, I am seeking to reduce the speed limit between on EE between NN and I. Because of the volumes of the traffic, the speed limit, we're asking to reduce it to 35 from 45. We're also, I am also, receiving information. I received actual letterhead and request from the police chief of the village of Mukwonago concerns of the speed limit on NN because of the amount of traffic and potential with the vehicles going through with the traffic from Fairwinds, the traffic from the school. So this, again, increase of volume of cars is concerning enough that the police chief has sent a letter to the county board supervisor, as well as he sent it to the public works chairperson. And I'm just letting you know that because of this area, the corner area is obviously a concern now as far as having the medium density. I, truth be told, would believe that it should be a lower density as far as with what's going on now and the information. So that I was just giving you my input. Thank you.
Thanks, Darlene. Anybody else that wants to say anything? Okay, cool, thanks everybody for making statements. All right, cool, we'll move on here to the presentation by the village staff on additional info related to prior community sessions. So John and Bruce, since you.
Bruce, and I'll refer you to his memo in the packet.
Yeah, but then I just wanted, not to interrupt, but rather clarify before we began, that I would ask that your statement be either redacted or amended as far, or clarified. A committee member presented information about the decrease of home values in urban subdivision, and who made that statement?
You did.
Okay. And if that is me, I would like the statement redacted or amended to state that I stated information about events and concerns on the single-family housing stock. I didn't state that they had a loss or a decrease in value. I did state that the homeowners there that did build and leave in a year's time left at a personal loss. That would not be reflected in a home sale and an assessment report. So.
Well, I took it as.
But that was your own conclusion. That wasn't my statement. So if it's going to be stated in the record, and it's a committee member me, that is not my statement. I asked that that be amended to reflect something other than another person's conclusion.
Well, you had a conclusion, I had a conclusion of what you stated, so let's
Correct.
leave it at that.
Setting that aside, I think the most important thing to just reflect on for a moment is on the bottom of page 2. And it shows that the future of the development for the area reflects a ratio of 69% single family versus 31% multifamily. So, from my standpoint, watching Bruce's work and interacting with the committee, it seems like the plan for this area, I mean, no one set a percentage, it's not for me to say, but that is what stuck out to me, is it seems like the long-term plan of the area fits within an acceptable ratio. Knowing you guys haven't discussed a specific one. So that's what I took away from the memo. Everything else aside, if no one has any questions, I think we'll just leave it at that and then move into the meat of this.
Yeah, one question, Bruce. In the original master plan, was there a 80-20 recommendation? Did I see that someplace, or am I mistaken?
Yeah,
80-20 residential. Strictly
This goes
residential.
back to the, as I have been told, 1990s. And it was a statement in the 2000 plan called Design in Mukwonago. It wasn't the comprehensive plan for state law, but it was approved in 2000, I believe March of 2000. That was a statement in there. It was carried over in a statement made in the current comprehensive plan, except it was de-emphasized because I totally think that having a ratio like that puts the village in, again, I'm not an attorney, but as our village attorney has, Alfred has written, and we have provided that information to the village, to the village board, plan commission, and the committee here, that puts us in a very tedious position in regard to the Fair Housing Act, the National Fair Housing Act. And yes, we should have a ratio. I'm not saying we should have 30% single family, 70% multifamily. Right now, the latest figures, since that last meeting, I've looked online again. There's new information as of 2014 from the U.S. Census. We are at 69%. We put as owner occupied, 31% renter occupied. The village always, let me put it this way. When that policy, when I first started as a planner back in 2001, the village administrator at that time, Bernie Call, once in a while would do the calculations where we were at. And the calculations always included condominiums as owner occupied, or he only counted single family. And right now, if you kind of look at the figures that I gave you from our assessors, that as of the first of the year, we are kind of, with single family is about, included condominium. Single family along with condominiums are about at 80%, or about 78%. So that from that standpoint, but I do not want to emphasize that too much for the reason I just stated. However, I have been working on and talking to John, and part of the state that John just referenced that I put together, I'm putting that together for all, it's a work in progress with all the other 4 key areas. I'll be bringing those numbers to you next meeting about projections, and we'll be putting projections together where we're at with projections 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and beyond out for single family versus kind of multifamily. Let's put it that way, because we have different numbers. You know, the census looks at just owner occupied versus renter occupied. We know the renter occupied, that some condominiums are renter occupied. We know there's homes in the community, in every community, that are renter occupied. So that figure is something we look at. We looked at some other.
Highest percentage.
Yeah. So we're going to come back to you after. And one of the things my comments was going to be, I hope that we can get through the final decisions on some of these 3 key areas that's on the agenda tonight. So I can go back and write up text to go along with this, with a policy statement that I think you're alluding to, Roger, on that. I don't want to put an exact figure, but I personally, we should not go maybe below 60%. Because in 2000 we were at 61%. Long answer to the short question.
Yeah, it's just a question, because I thought I read it in
Yeah, you're right. It was.
I read 65-35.
Pardon?
Where I read 65-35 was like.
A lot of communities shoot for that. The fact that
There's our comps float over and under. They drop below
ratio.
61, and you'll get some at 69.
Does fair housing use a guideline of any sort? Did you know?
all this makes sure that we're not exclusionary.
That's
and
the test.
we
Policy
allow
is exclusionary.
rental housing.
Affordable housing. I wouldn't know
Yeah,
whatever.
except a lot of proposal I'm seeing, not only here, but in the whole general area, for rentals are anything but affordable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I couldn't afford it. But so yeah. Well, yeah. So long story short, Roger, and that's what I want to say. Next time, I want to come back to you with documents, give you opportunity to review a draft, the text that's going to go along with all the maps, reviewing all the policies put together with the corrections that we made over the meetings, and I think for some clarification for the minutes tonight, because I saw that, just reviewed it this morning and thought, yeah, we needed some clarification on that, so I can put together a good document that all of you can look at and say, hey, is this what we approved or not? Because, again, as Jacob and I just talked, you know, we need some difference of opinion, sometimes what happens, that means, which is always normal.
Just some.
Yeah, right, so, and I know Jason and I will remain good talking buddies, and so that's the goal tonight. Probably, hopefully, to try to keep this one of the shorter meetings on record. Hopefully,
Bruce is helping with that, by the way.
so we can. Yeah, right. Okay, I know. Right. All right, let's move on.
Bruce, if I may, before you do move on, because I understand the purpose of the meeting, but is there an actual guideline for those percentages? I know we discussed this some time ago, even when you go back to the document he recommended or he referenced, was there any kind of it's just a number. There's no set standard that says your community is better than another community because this is the percentage that you have. So they're not working like generally you look for a 50-50 type of split. So that's not what you're looking for, but what is the actual, you know, the reason for that number? Because you can go to any community today and then sit down and find out how many apartments they have versus how many homes they have and come up with a percentage. It's not that they work towards that percentage, it just happens to be the percentage of the units that are in that particular community, correct? I mean, was there some federal guideline that came out, or
I saw one.
it's just
Well, based on the draft, the information, this was written up by Mark Blum, is that right? We got this information, I think, on the April 7th meeting, and he makes a summary of fair housing information based on the conference that we attended. Is that right, guys?
Correct.
It says the plan recommends that all communities with sewer service designate in their comprehensive plans at least some portion of the community for modest multifamily housing, a density of at least 12 housing units per acre. There's some other stipulations that come, so it seems like that's how I read that as a recommendation.
If you look at other, so there's no like, the Association of Planners says 65% is the number, it's just not like that. But if you look at other communities who share similar characteristics as us, where you can do demographics and other things, mid-60s is probably center, and then you can deviate from that. We're thinking plus or minus 4 points.
So are we okay there, or what?
Well, we're just yeah, oh yeah. And Bruce is going to have final calculations, and based on some preliminary sketches, we think that's still going to be the ratio. I mean, we've got to, some of it is we've got to finalize these maps, because based on the difference between mediums, density, single family, or estate, I mean, there's plus or minus 10 to 15% of movement just based on what we do, what we're talking about tonight. So we need this for Bruce to finish his numbers.
Yeah, for example, on this, but the numbers I gave you on page 2, that does represent 10 units per acre on the Belinsky property, subject to your final consideration maybe today. So that could change.
All we use the map as it exists, okay? Just to give you something.
So, but carrying further on, I know way back in planning school, eons ago, you know, there was a textbook. I think I still have a textbook in my home office bookshelf. They are advocating 50-50 split now. I don't agree with that. No. You know, there isn't, but that was the era of the master plan. That book was written probably post-World War II. Not that I was in college post-World War II, but it dates back to that era where they were building these master plan communities on the East Coast, you know, Reston, Virginia, and you know, Southside Washington, D.C., and all these huge Del Webb communities in Phoenix and things like that. But that was the mix at that time. Looking back, like from the village, the 2000 census, the 2010 census from the village, in the village of Mukwonago, it's been fluctuating as far as owner-occupied versus renter-occupied between 60 and 70%. Okay. And that will fluctuate because as John said the other day, we were talking about the numbers, he said, one single-family home doesn't get built, and then they build one multifamily unit. No, they build 20 multifamily units at one time, and then 30 homes get built in the course of the year. So like, for example, this morning I checked, so far this year, 15 permits have been issued for single-family homes so far this year in the village. But it'll be picking up because we have some whole bunches were submitted in the last week for permits. So, you know, it fluctuates from week to week, month to month, year to year, decade to decade.
So Bruce, do you want to go to your additional information? Is that part of it?
That's it. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Very good. Okay, so going on to 6 then?
Yeah.
About planning land use and what planning areas.
Just to kick this off, and you guys maybe off center, Bruce and I spent a lot of time between the last meeting and now, discussing what was shared, discussing what we believe the intent was behind the comments that were shared, and then we talked a lot about the process that we're following, and part of the reason that we have different geographic areas represented on the committee, and part of the reason that we broke this up into geographic districts was to enable those communities to have a disproportionate amount of input when it comes to the areas that they're in. So that was on purpose. So then, when you start extrapolating that out and continue talking, you start thinking about the Belinsky, I'll call it the Belinsky property, Belinsky 2.5, we all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, in the same way that we let property owners weigh in on what was happening out by the Baptist Church, and in the same way we let people who have land under contract in the business park weigh in on what they thought, I just view this as another form of the people who are interested in this specific area of the village weighing in. I mean, Bruce and I, if we don't, vote as you will, but we are perfectly comfortable going forward at the low density. What we're not comfortable with is commercial, because that traffic count, if you change the use from anything other than, I think we ruled out single family, but if you deviate off of that, the commercial car count, I don't even want to get into it. Because the type of business that would locate there would be like a Dunkin' Donuts type thing, high volume, whipping people, and the site is too small to do much different. So with all of that taken in, we talked, if it's all the same to the committee, we think there's other areas to focus on, and it seems like the developer will find a way to make it work. And if they can't, they will come and prove it. And as of yet, all we have is an email from the attorney saying he still abides by their position, but I mean, they've dropped off. He's not even at this meeting. So that's my quick pitch.
Follow up on John. I mean, if you follow traditional land use planning in that green book I described, this should be a commercial based on the traffic volumes. John and I don't want that. So, that's the options we have. Yeah, we don't get me wrong, but so we don't follow that, and I agree with John.
And at some point, it's not worth muddying 95% over the last 5. Let's just come to consensus, keep the group together, and we'll focus on other things.
One thing I just want to comment to you: the map in your packet is different than the map up here.
Yes, we gave you the wrong copy.
I gave you the wrong copy of the map. It still shows the higher density, the medium density on the Chapman property.
So essentially what Bruce and I are proposing is this color becomes the same as this color. This is the low density multifamily, 5 units per acre. That color is 10. We're asking that go to that, and we think that should complete this neighborhood.
So you're proposing that intersection go from 10 units to 8?
No, 5.
You want, you're going to make that 2.
Yes, from 10 to 5, but that's, you guys were deadlocked 5-5 last we left it, so you guys need to talk, but I just want you to know we spent some time reflecting, and that's what we came up with.
So the current zoning is 10?
Is agricultural.
The current zoning is A1, which was a holding zone given to it when it was attached to the village.
You'd be going from agriculture to low density multifamily. Right now, this reflects the wishes of the developer. And currently, but they haven't. 5 units per acre, 2 story.
2 story, 5 units per acre.
wherever, attached, by our ordinance, it's required to be a part of the, so it would look like Whispering Bay or the Glen, that's the density we're talking about. Those are, one I think is 5.5 and the Glen's like 4.5, so it's right in there.
Those buildings would be smaller, so they probably would not be able to afford to put underground parking.
Would the village, if that was ever approved and Valinsky came back, would the village, I'm not sure, the planning commission or whoever, would they put any restrictions on Valinsky as far as having to put up berms, landscaping, something as a buffer for the people that live right
Probably.
on that corner?
Those are the-
That's there, that's right on that corner.
Yeah, that's all part of our review process. Sure.
I think if you look at the different projects that have developed over the years, the village, you'll notice there are berms with trees on them. You can look at the one over here behind Susie's store, showing that subdivision. When that development came in, one of the primary things was to protect that subdivision from the business development. And the same thing for the Valinsky apartments that are located on double NES over there. If you look at that, there's a berm there between the roadway. You can't even really, see it unless you look. But there's a berm there with trees on it. And I think, the small farm subdivision where Darlene lives, the village built a berm, had the developer build a berm between the subdivision and the industrial park, which also has trees on it. So I'm pretty sure that would be something that would be considered without too much.
They might want it too, just for lights. They might want it too, just for their residents.
Sure.
Or attractive.
Yeah, we ready to put that in motion then, or?
Yeah, I don't make motions, I'm not voting.
So, yeah, we have a motion that, 2.5 acres from Valinsky is zoned for, low density multifamily, 5 units an acre.
And that was, the
Yeah.
motion was made by you,
Yep.
and it was seconded by
Jason.
Jason. So that's
Do we have the same 10 people here?
probably.
All right. Well, is there any discussion? We'll just put a vote, see what's
I'd
at.
like to discuss it.
Okay, let's go, Buzz.
Okay, since this is a contested area, no matter how you look at it, it's very possible that Valinsky will go to the planning commission whenever they're ready to do whatever they want to do and try to fight to get it changed more to their liking. So I think it's a contested area. Why don't we just leave it as it is and let Valinsky fight with the planning commission for it? There'll be people coming in to say their point of view. I mean, we're just an advisory board anyway.
They have to come, they have to get it changed.
Would they?
Anyway,
I mean,
change the comprehensive plan map anyway.
They would have to
They have
change-
to go and change
they
the
would-
zoning.
you can't
They have
just
two
do-
processes, and we would solve that process.
So you don't just go, if somebody else had a piece of land, if somebody had a piece of land and they requested a zoning change, it would have to come back to the comprehensive plan.
Yes, well, not necessarily to the steering committee, but it has to get comprehensive.
The planning commission can take those requests from community people and make a decision.
Sure, the land use map gets amended frequently in between comprehensive plan updates.
So can we do what Claus is saying, and just punt this to the planning commission, and move on with life?
Honestly, I prefer you guys make a decision.
From a member of the planning commission, I highly would ask you don't do that.
Okay.
The idea of this is to give a guideline.
Land use will lead to zoning at some point, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
And, as far as the zoning goes, and the land use goes, now somebody's coming in for a variance on something. They're coming in for a variance in ways right now they're agricultural, correct?
Well, we can be rezoning it, yes.
Probably
They
one
don't
we
want
have.
to farm that anymore? Did we ask for that?
The property owner would have to come in to request zoning to what would be recommended on the steering committee. And if they wanted something different, they could obviously request that, but if it's on the comprehensive plan, it would have to be overwhelming, some reason to really change it. And that's the purpose, that's why you're giving guidance by doing it this way.
Anybody else?
Yes, and I'm sure we can open this up back to.
So the discretion of the chair, what you do with
I'm
discussion.
just curious, is how would you feel about instead of medium going down to low density?
That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, we're not looking for.
That's what we're asking. We're not asking to keep it the same. We know that something's gonna happen.
You know, if there's 10 units there and then there's 20 cars going in there, that's very different than 20 units there and 40 cars going in and out of there. You know, that's.
So that's
So
what,
you're living next door, you
Yeah.
know, that's your
Yeah.
back door, and that
Yeah.
just makes me very curious.
Right.
How that would affect you.
But I'm gonna ask another question, what Fred said, not, but I wanna, he said that if it's bigger, it could have underground parking, so.
okay,
But
we're
either
gonna
way-
kick him out of the meeting. Let's move on to this. Lower density.
I don't
Either way,
want
they have to have some sort of covered parking, right? We can't just
Sure.
looking at a big parking lot.
Yes.
They
Okay.
have to be attached.
Yes. We don't do any cash cars.
Right, no, we're good.
Yeah, I personally, I support that all apartments had to have underground parking just to get the cars, so you don't have to see them. And it also provides you more green space to take your project. And with a garage, you're going to have, obviously driveways. So each one of the units will probably have a driveway, so you'll have probably a one-car garage, and there's only have one spot. And most apartments have two vehicles, or half of them have two vehicles, you're going to have some other place for that vehicle to park. And if they have company, then you have to have a parking lot related to that, where if you have underground parking, the company parking lot, when they come to visit, that would be the only parking lot, everything else would be underground. So in this particular case, if they could find a way to economically build an apartment with underground parking for a smaller unit, well, good, that's what they can do, but I don't see that happening.
Well,
I don't see that happening.
here's an example. Premier, that's been previously approved here at South Main Street and Anna Woods Road. Their first phase there is they're building 12-unit buildings, so 12-unit building. They have attached garages, ground level attached garages on them. So a building like that could be constructed, one 12-unit building.
Bruce, how many acres are they on?
Premier?
Premier's on 2.5?
No.
Oh, okay. Because it looks nice there, and I was just
Yeah,
curious.
that lot of property is half its wetlands.
And,
Okay.
I think
it's
the big
17 acres, but the way, because like you mentioned, it's not buildable. All 17 acres aren't buildable, so their project was trying to get as many units as they could on 17 acres with having so much of it unbuildable. So,
Just so you know, it's that they're about 5.2 units per acre, minus the wetland. If you're in the wetland, they're about 6.4.
It just looks like it fits
Yeah.
nice there, that's why I was curious, like comparable, what would 10 units on 2.5 acres look like in comparison?
and one other thing I'll mention, because you mentioned about the roadway. The roadway was reconstructed for the traffic that was anticipated from the subdivision. So just so you're aware, the only reason that entryway is there is because they paid to have that road reconstructed to make it wide so that you had a turn lane and so that you had if you had been here before, like I can remember that was what you call a hairpin turn. So in the wintertime, it was more often than not, you'd be out there because somebody would be in the ditch because they just didn't negotiate the turn properly. So the road was redesigned for the fact that people would slow down and would turn into the subdivision in the manner that you're doing. So it's not like it was just all of a sudden done. It was done.
Well, no.
It was
And
designed
I'm not concerned
specifically
about the way the road
to
is,
allow
it's
that.
the speed and the
Right.
hills and the turns.
and the traffic.
And the stop and go signals were also installed at that time frame because of they knew that the subdivision was going to be developed. So
Can
there was planning.
Can I just ask one question? So back then, when that was taking place, and you guys split the road and Belinsky put in money for that or whatever they
Oh,
did,
yeah, Lindsay put in quite a bit of money.
at that point, why was that plot of land done ag and not multifamily?
Across the street.
Then for them. And now,
That's a
we're
good
going
question,
to-
I'm sure the people in their office, because they change over personnel fairly often, they're probably going to be asking that question after they find out what the findings are of the street.
Yeah, because it almost
From
seems
the very
like this.
beginning, when we were sitting there, that's where they were going to build their apartments. Because they built their apartment estates, and they built their apartments in front, so there was some concern about when those buildings came up. And so when they were building this, that corner was always plotted to be apartments, but nobody changed the zoning, they didn't change the zoning at the time to reflect apartments. So.
Because it almost
So
seems like
basically,
that.
basically all land next to the village becomes ag. That's annexed. So they never asked for rezoning. Obviously, your subdivision was once zoned ag before they asked for rezoning. So that's why it's zoned ag. And it's considered, it's basically considered a holding zone until there's some other use.
I was just curious at that time, why didn't they, if this was the future
I don't know.
use for this
You're
plot, why
exactly
was
right.
it
If
done?
they would have done it, the conversation would not necessarily be mute, but
We would
it would
be
be
happy.
much more difficult to overturn it because this is how they planned out their subdivision.
Because I'll be honest, I mean, if it was that way and they already built the permits there a year and a month ago, I would have never bought my house.
Well, that's.
You know, that's just my point. If I was staring at medium density apartments right across the street from me, I would have never bought that subdivision.
Well, and that could be a sales tax.
You know,
Where a subdivision developer, they know what they're going to do, they sell you a lot, and you may not necessarily know that that corner is commercial, or that other corner is going to be, you know, the two-story apartment building. But you already bought your lot and you're investing in your home, so the likelihood of you changing is pretty slim. So some of that stuff, I'm not saying that they were devious, I'm just saying that sometimes, in these circumstances when they're good, they talk about how they're gonna do it. And, well, you just look at how many years it's taken for the subdivision to be built out. It was supposed to be built out, you know.
But that has a little bit to do with.
Well, it's the economy, it's market-based, so there's a lot of some things that come into play. And that's, at that time, maybe they didn't feel they needed, you know, they didn't want to spend money on apartments, they wanted to spend money on single families. Or the economy turned down and nobody was building. So it's hard to say, but I'm sure there's going to be discussion in your office over this. So
I appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman?
You call the question.
Yes,
May I ask a call question, please?
Yeah, let's take roll call on this, and we'll put this out, and we'll see where we're at.
Just to clarify, yeah, a yes vote would mean changing it?
I will read the motion.
Okay.
Proposal is, my motion is that we zone the 2.5 Linsky acres as low density multifamily, 5 units.
Okay.
That, so if you vote yes, you're in favor with that.
Okay, so roll call, yes or no. Susie Bauer. Yes. Linda Berg. She's not here. Klaus Heitman.
Yes.
Tom Carpenter.
Yes.
Joe McAdams.
Yes.
John Miners.
Yes.
Mary Katz.
Yes.
Jean Schultz, yes. Roger Walsh.
Yes.
Jason Wamser.
Yes.
Shelley Jurgens.
She's not here.
She's not here, sorry. And
That's right.
that's it. Fred?
Yes.
Okay, it's unanimous.
No. That's shaky.
That's a big.
All right, is there anything else left in the north area?
No, that's it. We'll get the maps ready and the text is going on now for your review.
Outstanding, cool, let's keep following here. All right, number 7, we are on the northeast planning area, what do we got there?
Okay, last time you approved the whole map except for the St. James property.
Is anybody here from St. James?
Yes, right there.
Okay, very good.
And as we said, we met with them. They indicated a preference to have the opportunity for senior housing on this site. And that, we need to talk about a little bit of how this might be handled. Also, we talked to them about, and on this map here, you see the little cursor, that's the church proper and their athletic field behind there and their facilities on the site. A little bit of frontage here, that's open space, and this is about 12 acres, this long slender piece that the village has started preliminary discussions with them about acquisition for expansion of the public works facility, which is right to the west of here, not outside of the boundary of this key area. So this represents, the blue represents government and institutional, which allows for a church. My thought is, in the text, if senior housing is part of this, that's always a question mark if they're going to go ahead with that or not. We can add in the text to this map that senior housing is an option within the blue area, and that's kind of why I left the blue area. In the single-family portion of this back area, that's just now currently this farm field, it's farmed by a local farmer. we did show this as medium lot, single family 2, which is 15,000 square foot lots. Based on conversations and their requests at the meeting, I changed this to small lot, single family, which is 10 to 12,000 square foot lots in this area. Again, listening to their comments about providing good housing for the community. I don't want to call it affordable housing, but moderately priced housing. That was something that came up with the meeting from them. And then also, we kept the low-density multifamily, that was basically condominiums at that density level and for that area, overlooking the Vernon Marsh. So that was the discussion with them. I received an email from their business manager the other day, Cheryl Murata, saying that at this time they're okay with the committee if they would like to go forward with this proposal as presented here.
Is there anything that you gentlemen want to add to that?
No, that's our position.
Okay, you're good with that, Matt, and how it looks?
So really the only thing you're doing, you're approving this and then you're asking Bruce to create text that would allow for senior housing within the governmental institutional designation.
And if the village doesn't acquire this strip of land, that would then be the residential continued land use without having to come back for a comprehensive plan amendment.
That's fine.
The residential.
Small lots, single family.
Small,
Yeah.
okay.
How many acres is St. James have?
99.
99.
Yeah.
Yes. And then the northern reaches of the 99 is, gets into the wetlands and primary environmental corridor along the tracks, the rail tracks, and overlooking the Vernon Marsh.
Could you use your cursor and just kind of trace down, I guess that would be your east side of the property from front to back?
There's the back
Okay, right. All the way down.
to highway, yeah, I mean, and it's
And what was the destination you suggested, properties that overlook the marsh?
low density multifamily.
Bruce, the corner of NN and ES there, where the,
I'll get to that in a moment, yes.
okay. I see that in, and I believe that is the restaurant.
Green Ridge Shopping Center.
And Heaven City as well, are both zoned for mixed-use business here.
Yeah, we're planning it for mixed-use business.
Now, this is gonna be of the variety of 10, no higher than 2 stories and 10 dwelling units per acre, max, correct?
There's no multifamily component at all, is
This is mixed-use, yes.
there? Okay, but conceivably, but.
So this is what we talked about last time, letting mixed-use business
Right.
go outside of the
Yes.
districts we said it could be.
Yeah.
So I guess my fear right now with that is, this is gonna get interpreted by somebody that says, here we go, 3, 4 stories, and it's got a similar name. How do we differentiate that?
Well, the text that I need to prepare, but, you know, again, we presented this, John and I didn't talk about this, but I think we could not even go forward with the business mixed use out of the area and let those, again, as John said about Polinsky, let them come in at a future date and ask for a change. So in fact, to tell you the truth, it's not on the agenda per se, but if you nod your heads in the right way, I will, in the draft you will see, you get from your final review before it goes on to the Plan Commission and Village Board, I'll take that business mixed use out of the equation outside of the 2 planning districts. I've had some reconsideration on that.
Agreed.
Did clear it up?
Yeah, I think it would be.
Not to say it can't be something in the future, but right now,
Yes.
So those 2 places will be commercial,
Back to low intensity commercial.
okay.
which is
All
blue, I
right.
believe, right?
Is there anything else that you need to discuss?
No, okay, so for everyone at home, that'll be straight blue, that'll be straight blue.
No, that'd be straight pink.
Pink, sorry, yeah, and then this will allow senior family housing within this blue area, and then the text will otherwise describe if the village does not acquire this parcel, it will be small lot, single family.
Okay. Well, I will make a motion to approve this map with the text that senior housing can be inserted into the governmental institutional areas. And that the 2 areas currently shown as being mixed-use business be kept at strictly low intensity.
I'll second
Any discussion?
Yeah, at the part about the remaining strip becoming
Yeah.
small lot,
What's
single
with
family.
Larry Johnson?
I would need to write that down.
Is that something we should represent?
What?
There's a consideration that do we need the language with us to make this motion right now, or are we?
No, if you approve it, you'll just, the next time you see a draft, you'll see the draft reflected in whatever form the draft comes.
Yeah, well, actually, there won't be any mention of it. The draft won't mention.
That's all right?
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, talk about that. This is mixed use.
Yeah, we're just gonna remove all instances of business mixed use outside of.
I guess with us moving on this land,
So we can,
shared use or whatever with the institutional.
Yeah, as soon as we're done, separate motion, remove all instances of business mixed use except for the 2 places, and then we'll vote on that, and then we'll get the whole thing done. We'll do it separately.
you want to remove the mixed-use business separately?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Let me reconsider, restate, clarify my motion. I motion that we take the snap as is with the amendment that we can insert senior housing onto the St. James property.
I'll second that.
And for 1 second, yeah, and then to further allow for the single-family housing to expand
Small lots.
if needed on the
On
west side.
narrow strip.
We have 3 things in this.
Yeah, we're putting senior housing in, allowing for senior housing, and allowing for the village to back on their use. Let that become
Senior housing is already allowed in our
So, does that make sense to everybody, right? We'll clarify that. Okay.
we're trying to allow in institutions.
Let's roll with that.
Very ready for, you want the second?
You want to second it?
All right, we'll second it.
Okay, now,
That's 6, we're on 5th.
any discussion? Any discussion? We'll do it all at once in case it's murky. We'll roll call. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no.
No,
Fair enough.
I just want to see it.
So I'll make another motion right now that we remove all mixed-use business from this map. Is that
From the
correct?
entire comprehensive plan, aside from the interstate district and the river south district, we're scrubbing it from all.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. I make a motion that we remove all instances of mixed-use business that are outside the interstate planning district and the Main Street River South planning district.
I second.
Okay, John? Myers? Any discussion? Okay, let's do it all at once. See where it's at. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Okay, unanimous. All right.
Well, that brings us,
Northeast now?
yeah, that brings us to 8. River south.
Really exciting map here.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, here's ES or Main Street, Bayview Road, the Canadian National Rail tracks, the East Troy Railroad tracks. Okay, basically, right now it's all commercial except for the Village Hall and the park area and floodplain along the Fargo River. We're now showing low-intensity commercial, and in the middle of this, business mixed use. We talked about this last time, but you asked to be able to see this on the map. The whole area is about 100 acres in size, so this is about 60% of the size. I didn't really do an exact calculation yet on it, but it's about 60% of the area. We had a discussion, John and I, and in trying to, in my projections to you about how many units will be multifamily versus single family in the community in our plan. I'm anticipating in these business mixed-use areas we're showing here and in the interstate planning district, that this is potentially could be 25% of the land area, if that, a mixed use where there's residential on it. So that's going to be the criteria I'm going to be using for calculating that. I don't ever foresee this happening more than that percentage. For example, you know, here's the Lynch property the village owns right here. I'm outlining it approximately right here, like this 4.5 acres. Developers that have been looking at that in the last years or so have been talking about maybe expanding that, buying up more properties all the way to Bayview, or maybe not. There's property, vacant property behind the Sherwin-Williams over in here, and there's 15 acres here by the green walls with wetlands on it. Through the years, Greenwell's talked about senior housing. I mean, ever since I've been a planner here, he's talked about potentially senior housing on that site. Maybe so, but there's a lot of wetlands on that site as well, so you have to build around it. So maybe that would be good for senior housing, maybe not. But I don't, you know, with the market price, I think that's going to be, you know, probably sufficient, and maybe only like a quarter of this to be developed as mixed use. Looking for your thoughts on that, about, you know, because that is something that I've been pondering the last couple of weeks about the densities and percentage of the mixed use of these areas that we're designating for business mixed use. And as you remember, we changed the criteria, the written word, so to speak, of that the business mixed use doesn't particularly need to be on one property, but within a area or a unified neighborhood. Questions, thoughts, comments?
I hope that's up to public comment, or is that message? I see you can't go up there.
Well, let's let that, well, actually, if you follow the procedures, the written procedures, we're only supposed to allow public comment during discussion of these maps for anybody that has ownership of property or represents a property owner. But this is running this more informal.